My heart is racing, okay? Paper Rex eliminated. Zeta now top 3 at Masters. Their journey continues. Who wrote this script? Seriously, who
This was what was put on my
wrote it?
desk earlier on. I mean, I think everyone knows what the
so
script...
you had access to the script, but then you just wanted us to have heart attacks.
I mean, I didn't want to spoil the end of the story for you guys, at least, or at least this chapter of the story
This
for
ain't
Zeta.
the end.
You know what?
This ain't the end.
She acts like she knew. You know what? She turned to me and she said, "Don't say a word. Don't you say a word. Do not curse anything." I was like, I
did
ain't
say
saying
that.
anything.
I said no one speak, and silence befell the analyst desk. Like, it's never been silent before. So that was such an impactful ending, and I can't believe, you know, Prime Gaming highlights had to happen there, because I didn't want to relive that heart attack that I went through game after game, round after round.
Give me that every day of the week.
I know.
It's just so
Okay.
good. I mean, Pansy asked us, like, is this where we wake up from our fever dream? I think, like, it's no longer a dream. It's no longer, this is normal now.
I can't believe as well, like, we talk about some of the best controllers in the entire tournament. Actually, a lot of the controllers, Mako, for example, was leading the tournament for, you know, many of the groups. Then we got into playoffs and we were talking about, you know, so many different controller players. How well Sugar Zero has played. I know we keep bringing up the Astro Point, but I do think it's very crucial. A couple of those divides saved rounds. There was one divide that almost saved a round, but it wasn't to be. But I think that that's key points here, is that every player, regardless of how frag heavy they might be, was really putting in here for Zeta.
Yeah, and I know, Jesse, you were talking about Forsaken. Well, Mitch is at the telestrator wall to break down how Zeta dealt with Forsaken. And whew, yes, they did, Mitch. Yes, they did.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Yes, we saw Zeta make some adaptations in this game, and none more important than dealing with Forsaken. This guy was unbelievable, ended up top fragging, and if you let him roam free with the operator, he'll be able to take you down. Let's take a look at one of the rounds that played out. It's round number 21, and we're diving in a little bit late. 55 seconds left on the clock. This is kind of an interesting one. Immediately, you're going to notice that the control, I'm going to zoom in on the map to let you see, it's very minimal for the defensive side. A lot of this round is centered off this crossfire here that has to find value. And it's interesting to see how Zeta approached dealing with this. Straight away, they know there could be an op posted on this corner, so you're going to have the round slowed down for a second while Crow sets up with a Trailblazer. He's going to put that through alongside the wall, the intention of this being that if there's an op there, he's going to have to run away, right? And he can't hold that angle anymore, can't take the fight. They're going to spot Jing up close, and as he breaks it, they actually kill him pretty much immediately, but the response from Forsaken is instantaneous. He comes through the wall, trades out his teammate, and has his dash online, so it's looking like it's going to be free, right? Now, there are players making their way through vents. That is being communicated over at this point, though. The trap wire was broken down there, albeit it's only a second or two to react. The interesting thing, though, was while this push was happening, these stars have just been placed, and they are going to be hugely important in how this plays out. So let's just take a look. First of all, I just want to say, before we get into this, Forsaken mechanics are nuts. He gets the kill, pops down a cloudburst, falls back, notices the players coming out top, puts a cloudburst, turns, dashes to side, trying to get away desperately, and then this Gravwell comes into play. This is going to freeze him in position. Combine that with a nade that's about to come through into the elbow. This gives him no space. Either walk backwards and get killed, stay in the Gravwell and get killed, go forward into the nade, and well, this is where Forsaken kind of comes into play. He goes past the nade, takes a lot of damage, and ends up finding a kill as well. I mean, that's just Forsaken. What can you do? Even when they're sending their entire round after taking this guy down, he's still good for 2 kills, pops the Blade Storm, but then Sugar Zero came through to save the day, and this was really just remarkable play out of him individually, swinging through and taking those fights. I thought it was funny to see that even though at the start of the round, they committed like 10 pieces of util to taking this guy down, they had 3 or 4 players peeking him at different points, nades going down, lighting him to 30 HP, and he still manages to get so much value for his team. Additionally, I forgot to even mention, Jing was about to get his ult online. In fact, when he died, he did have the showstopper, so that was another disaster averted by Zeta with a pretty forward-thinking, I would say, approach to this, having their split through mid, having taken their control, and there was a lot more to it in the early round and how they faked and postured, but you know what, I'd be here all day trying to explain that, so let's leave it at that and send things back over to our analyst desk.
Amazing telestration segment from Mitch. Y'all, all I can say is that they definitely took space from Forsaken, but I'm just so impressed with Zeta's growth, just their progress at this tournament alone.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. I mean, like, if we can't turn around and we look at, like, the first couple of series that they had, especially the first series, and you say, hey, this is Zeta, and then you give me the last couple of matches, you say, hey, this is Zeta, I'd be like, you are lying to me. And don't lie, that's not the same team. But the glow-up is so quick, it's so fast, and it's so impressive that we can't not talk about that being one of the key factors here for Zeta.
I am emotional watching that. When he just said, we are the only Asian team standing right now. Yeah. I'm sorry, that just got me right in the feels. I'm like trying not to get emotional here. I'm sorry, but Jess, I know you were repeatedly saying this.
The last time I saw a Japanese team inside of a tactical FPS in the world go onto an international stage was when they knocked me out and my team to go to the top 4 of the World Championships in Siege. That was the very last time as Norarengo ever stood on the stage and did that. And now it will be Zeta to overpass the Norarengo that we once knew in the Japanese region to now stand on the stage and really take the mantle of kings of Asia now. This is it in tactical FPS, and I have goosebumps saying this, and everyone around the world really should.
And it's so interesting because now we get to a completely diverse regional playoff, right? In the last 3 here, Optic from NA, Loud from Brazil, and now Zeta from Japan as well. And this will only be in this best of 5 tomorrow in the lower finals, only be the second time a Japanese team has played up against an NA team. The first time was a year ago against version 1 from Crazy Raccoon. So that's a long time, and we really haven't seen this matchup play out, and we haven't seen the fans go battle against each other as well in the social wars. So this is going to be just an absolute fun one.
I cannot wait to see that matchup. And they said if we can get into top 8, that would be miraculous. Top 3 now, unbelievable.
Again, we have to throw back to the fact they said day 1 they want to win 1 match. 1 match. Now they're here and they might win 1 whole international tournament. I am getting so hyped because this is such an incredible story. You can't write it, you can't picture it, and now we get to see it play out in fruition right in front of us.
You just cannot write it. That
you can't
truly
write that.
is the answer there. I don't know how this is going to go down. Player of the match.
Oh.
Who are we thinking?
Ooh.
Who are we thinking? We're waiting on those results to come in, but I'm going to pick brains.
I've got I know who I would have voted for.
Okay.
And it's Depp. Because
You're
that guy
Depp?
was a
Okay.
monster the entire time. I think he's the reason why they got back on Haven. One of the few reasons, I think, because he was a monster. Obviously, they stopped that match, but it was really reliant on him. He was making the plays. He was the guy going in first in a lot of situations. I've got to give it to Depp. He was a monster on Split as well. And I think a reason why they won the series.
Oh, they didn't agree with you.
Yeah.
They went with Sugar Zero.
Look, that was my vote purely out of the fact that I feel like support players who do well, especially when it comes to KD, is not necessarily their job. So if you are doing well with your utility and you come out with a plus 13 over the entire series, overdoing and overshadowing any other player on your team, you kind of deserve a nod because you are having the impact.
Man, I'm tired. I'm
exhausted.
a little exhausted. I'm not going to lie. I heard some of our behind-the-scenes people be like, I am zonked. Of course you do. Of course you do.
You are a sicko. I could not go through that heart throb again. That was insane.
He's on an adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
That
true.
must be what it is. But first and foremost, I wanted to thank both of you. I've had so much fun. Don't leave me.
GG.
Oh, so
Paula
sorry.
just stared at my.
Damn, you were quick on
was a reaction
She wants
too.
she wants a
Like,
Forsaken
all right, do it again.
reaction.
Like, yeah,
she
for
was
real.
like,
I'm sorry. I've been watching Zeta, and it's like instantaneous with them. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, we'll work on that. We'll work on that.
sure.
But a big thank you to both of you. You are just absolutely fantastic. A huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes. You're all working so hard. And obviously, a big thank you to all of you at home. We'll see you very soon. I can't wait for tomorrow. Bye.